Hello and welcome to our Just One Step Pilates class today. So this class is going to support walking. When you think about it, walking is quite remarkable. In every step we do, we utilize so many muscles, and the way that we walk can really affect our entire posture and the amount of ease or the amount of dis-ease that we feel and experience each day. With every step, you can see there's so many components. The body is such a spectacular thing that it's able to use the hip flexors to lift the leg and then extend the leg, step forward, use the glutes to press off onto the next leg. So today we are primarily going to be strengthening the hip flexors and the glutes and learning how to extend our leg by keeping our core really stable and strong. Okay, let's get onto the mat lying down. Actually, I'm going to go this way. Okay. So finding yourself down on the ground will firstly establish our neutral pelvic alignment. So if you're new to this, I'll just talk you through it. It's a really wonderful tool that Pilates uses to make sure that we stabilize our pelvic region, which we like to call our core. So what I want you to do is take the heels of your hands, place them onto your hip bones, then take the fingertips of your hands, place them on the pubic bone, and just have a play with the pelvis until you find a position where the heels and the fingertips are pretty neutral. So we don't want the fingertips lifting up towards the sky, and we definitely don't want them coming down with a big arch in our back. We want to have somewhere in between where we feel like the hip bones and the pubic bone are pretty level. Now you might experience a small gap in the lower back. That is completely normal. We have naturally a little S-curve in the lower back, and we want to maintain that whilst we do the first few exercises. The next thing I want you to think about is your two hip bones. They won't budge. They are bones. However, I want you to think of drawing them towards each other. What this is going to do is start to switch on our transverse abdominis, which is our abdominals that act like a corset in and around the pelvis and the spine. So the two hip bones are thinking of moving towards each other. That's going to help fire up our transverse abdominis. You might even put your little peace fingers just inside of where the hip flexors are, and you might feel a gentle hardening or quite a strong hardening depending on how long you've done this. Then the final component of this, and we call this the T-zone because we have a horizontal line and then also a vertical line from the pubic bone. You want to think of lifting it, same thing, it's a bone so it won't move, but think of lifting your pubic bone up towards your belly button. What that's going to do is help zip on the pelvic floor. Now the pelvic floor is what allows us to hold our wee, hold our poo, sorry for the language, hold our number ones, hold our number twos. And when it's nice and strong, we're really well supported in the pelvis. So we've got these two lines, we've got hips drawing towards each other, pubic bone drawing towards the belly button. Great, keeping this nice and strong. We're going to move into our first exercise today. So for this first exercise, we're simply going to inhale, tighten this T-zone. As we exhale, I just want you to float one foot off the ground. It doesn't have to be high. And then inhale it back down softly. Try the other one. Exhale, float one foot off. And then inhale, float back down. We're going to interact between these two, so floating gently one foot off and then inhaling down. So we lift on the exhale and we inhale, float it down. Now it's very subtle movement, but if you're starting to wobble, it means you've probably gone too far. So you might need to make this even more subtle. What we're trying to do is just isolate our legs separate from our pelvis so that everything in our torso stays completely still and we're strong enough to just simply lift and lower a leg. Okay, so we're also activating the hip flexors, we're activating this T-zone, this nice strong core. A few more like this. So I like to point through my toes. It really helps me, especially on the way down, to control this. Now, if you are feeling any rocking as you do this, then think of switching those two hip bones towards each other. So that action of drawing the two hip bones towards each other is really going to help stabilize. If you've noticed that your upper body has started to come up off the ground, then think about drawing your ribs down towards your hips. That's going to help anchor your spine in a nice position. So ribs are drawing down towards the hips. Let's go for 2 more each side, nice and gently. If you want to make this a little bit stronger, simply lift the leg that little bit higher. But as I said, we are going for control over height, okay? Always in Pilates, we like to go for controlled movement. Last one, each side. And then release. Now we're going to move on to lift and extend. So with this exercise today, we're going to use, it's changing it up, we're going to start to extend the leg. So on your inhale this time, you'll tighten the T-zone, but at the same time, you're going to float the foot off. From here, as you exhale, you're going to extend the leg away. As you inhale, you'll rebend the knee and then float it down. Exhale. We're going to switch sides. So inhale, tighten the T-zone, lift the foot. Exhale, extend. Inhale, back. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, nice and long out through the toes. Inhale, draw back in. Exhale, down. Keep switching those, or drawing those 2 hip bones towards each other, especially if you're noticing some rocking in the body. We're going nice and slow and controlled. Beautiful. Continuing in your own breath. Now, if you want to make this a little gentler, I feel like this is pretty strong, take the foot a little higher. If you want to make this a little stronger, then you take the foot a little lower. So you can hover it just off the floor as long as nothing changes in the upper body. So don't compromise your upper body for getting that leg lower. And as you go lower, you want to think of the ribs drawing down towards the pelvis so that you're really anchoring the upper abdominals as well and keeping the spine nice and safe. Keep extending and lengthening. As I said, if you feel that rocking, draw the 2 hip bones together. Beautiful. Let's go 1 more each side. Really think of lengthening and extending beyond the toes as if there was a line that kept going through to the wall or through to the sky that's beyond your toes. That's it. Last one of these. Lower, down. Okay, we're going to move into a slightly different posture now. I want you to press your lower back now. So before we had our neutral spine alignment, now we're going to imprint. So really pressing the lower back in, and you're going to hug one knee into the chest. I'm going to start with the gentle option and then anchor this into a stronger option. So from here, float the opposite leg up. And maybe you want to take it down a little bit. If it's a bit too strong, keep the leg up towards the sky. Otherwise, start to lower that leg down, okay? Then we're going to switch over. So I'm grabbing onto the outer edge of my calf and top of my knee. Outer edge of my calf and top of my knee. So gentler option, foot higher to the sky. Stronger option, foot lower to the ground, your choice. So we inhale and then we exhale, extend. Inhale to come in. Exhale, extend. If you want to make this a little stronger, you can lift off the shoulders now. So the inhale and extend. Inhale and exhale. So you can lift the shoulders off, hugging in as if you're giving yourself a nice big hug, or you can stay down, keep it a little gentler. Your choice here. We've got a few more each side. Keep drawing the hip bones towards each other. Ribs are drawing down towards the pelvis. Keep lengthening out through those legs. Hug your chin a little bit closer. Maybe for the last 2, we get a little bit higher. Last one on this side. And then hug the knees into the chest. So from here, we're going to lie onto our sides and start to target into our hip flexors now. So with this, you're going to take your bottom arm to the center of your mat, then draw your hips back and bend the knees so that my hips My heels are in line with the back of my mat and my legs are bent at about 90 degrees. And then the top part of my body, the upper arm is going through halfway up the top of the mat. And then I can either gently rest the head down or keep it lifted. As I said, there's lots of choices here. We just want to look before we start this one and make sure that we've got our two hips stacked. If we roll too far back, we're going to start to crunch into the hip flexors and we want to target the glutes here. If we roll too far forward, same thing. So we really want to make sure the two hips are stacked on top of each other. And remember the T-zone we started to activate. We want to think the same thing here. We want to keep that strength so the two hip bones drawing towards each other, that pubic bone drawing towards the belly. That's going to keep us nice and stable here. From here, we're going to float one leg off so it's in line with my hips. I'm going to point the toe and then I want you to rotate your leg in. Okay, so I'm trying to turn my toes to face down. It's going to feel quite strange and it'll probably start to target your glutes straight away, even with this simple action. We're going to inhale, take the leg just slightly forward, keep it at the same height, and then exhale, press it back, keep drawing the belly in. This is all we're going to do. We're going to inhale to come forward very gently. Exhale. This is going to be a very subtle movement. We want to try and keep the leg on one height the entire time so it's not floating up and down. And keep extending out. Remember, we're rotating that leg in. It's quite an interesting experience. And then exhale to come back. Try and keep the upper body still. So it's going to be quite a subtle extension. Inhale, coming forward. If you want to make it stronger, take the leg a bit forward. Exhale, take it only far back as you can keep everything still in the upper body. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Continue 3 more. So keep rotating that foot down. Relax the upper body from your shoulders upward. They don't need to get involved. Sometimes they try and take over, but really keep lengthening out through the toes and work for keeping that as smooth and as controlled as you can. It's like a little pendulum swing. Good. Keep drawing the belly in towards the spine, the hips towards each other. Final one of these. Good. Can you feel it? I can feel it for sure. And then lower back down. Beautiful. You can either just roll over to the other side or like me, you can switch around so you can keep facing forward. I'm just going to switch sides for that. So let's just set ourselves up on this side again. Arm is coming into the center of the mat. Hips are aligning with the back of the mat. Heels are aligning with the back of the mat. And then my hips are stacked on top of each other. They're not rolling back. They're not rolling forward. They're staying pretty neutral on top. Then I'm going to activate the T-zone, so drawing pubic bone towards my belly button, 2 hip bones towards each other, hands supporting me in front. Relax the head down. If you want to, you can stay up, but otherwise just stay down for this. Then extending one leg in line with the hip, rotate the toes in, so the toes are trying to look down towards the ground. We're going to inhale, float the foot a little bit forward. Exhale, extend it back. Keep drawing into that T-zone. Inhale, floating forward. See if you can stay in one long line. Keep it the same height as you move forward and back. It's very subtle movement. Keep rotating the toes. Especially if that's new for you, it's going to be a very interesting sensation. But it's going to help us target the glutes and keep us out of our hip flexors here. Good. Continue with a few smooth kicks here. This is called hot potato. So we're going to get nice hot potatoes, if you get what I mean. That's it. Let's go for 3 more. You might find one side's a little stronger than the other. I always find one side is easier than the other. That's it. Keep rotating the foot down. Last one. Keep everything in the upper body completely still. Just isolate that leg away. You got it. Point, point, point. Slowly releasing down. So, come onto all fours now. Place your hands directly underneath the shoulders. Place your knees stacked directly underneath your hips. We're going to take a few horse kicks here. So same thing, we're trying to keep a pretty neutral spine. We don't want to be collapsing into the upper body. We want to have a little bit of strength there, so press down into the hands firmly. And same thing, we're thinking of 2 hips drawing towards each other, pubic bone drawing towards the belly button. Now, On your inhale, I want you to just float one knee off the ground. Exhale, gently place it back down. Switch sides. Inhale, float. Yep, you'll see how much you have to transition weight into the opposite parts of the body. So really strong as you inhale up. Exhale, float down. See if you can keep the hips as still as possible though. So we're just testing out what it's like to take one knee off at a time. That's it. Now we're going to start to extend into the horse kick. Your inhale is going to be here. Your exhale is going to extend in one long line. Now in other modalities such as yoga, sometimes they encourage you to go into a little bit of a back bend. For this one, I want you to keep your spine as neutral as possible. So drawing the belly in towards the spine and only taking that foot as high as your hip. And then we're going to come all the way back down. We're going to switch legs over. Inhale, float the knee off. Exhale, extend. Inhale, draw the knee back. Exhale, float down. Let's keep switching sides. Inhale, extend long and line. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, extend. Inhale, draw the knee back in. Exhale, float down, switching sides. Inhale, one long line from the toes to the crown of the head, and then coming back in. Float the knee down, exhale, switching sides. Inhale, float. Exhale, extend and lengthen. Inhale, draw the knee in. Exhale, floating down. Inhale, float one knee. Now, if you need to make this gentler, just drop the leg a little bit lower. It doesn't have to be at hip height. We're just working towards hip height. Continue on. We're going to go one more in your own range, in your own timing. That's it. Keep drawing the hip flexors towards each other. Nice and controlled, nice and long. Beautiful. Last one of these. Great. Okay, to finish off this practice today, we're going to take a little bit of a swim. We're going to do some freestyle legs. So bring yourself down to your mat, onto your belly. Now, for this today, I want you to just have your hands underneath your forehead, elbows out to the side, and relax down. For the moment, just look towards the camera so you can see what we're going to do. And then once you know what you're doing, I'll get you to turn your head so it's neutral and place it down. Okay, but just for the moment, keep turning and looking at me before you do the movement. So we're going to start to extend out through the back of the legs. I want to really emphasize that you shouldn't be feeling this in the lower back. There's a little bit of activation in the lumbar extensors. However, the bulk of this is happening with the glutes, okay? So I really want you to think if you start to feel any discomfort in the lower back, you've gone too high, you can bring this really back down towards the ground. So just watch this first one. We're going to inhale. Tighten the T-zone as we exhale, float one leg just off the ground. Now I'm really thinking of lengthening as if someone was holding onto my foot and pulling me towards the back of the room. And then I'm inhale, lengthening down. Then I switch to the other side, exhale, extend the other side. So my upper body will be down. Now, you can go a little bit higher as long as you're feeling that this is all from here downwards and nothing's in the lower back. If you feel any discomfort, I would suggest just coming down and trying this one of just activating the leg. So you don't even have to really lift the leg. It could be like 1 centimeter off. Protect your back, and in saying that, let's now get into it and tighten that T-zone. Remember the T-zone we switched on at the beginning? 2 hip bones drawing towards each other. Pubic bone lifting up towards the spine and towards that belly button. Here we go. Inhale to stay. Exhale, floating off. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, floating off. Good. Inhale, down. Continue in your own breath. And as I said, I really want you to go for length versus height. So firstly, I want you to feel the length as you lift. Lengthen it away, then lift it, okay? As long as we're doing that, we're gonna have beautiful long legs. And as we walk, we're gonna have those graceful, lovely walking style. Okay, next few. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Now, if you're not feeling any discomfort in the lower back, and you could just feel the glutes and the back of the hamstrings activating, then you can take it that little bit further, a little bit higher, and challenge yourself. But as I said, if you need to just drop it down gentle, just keep thinking of lengthening away. Don't even worry about the height, okay? Last few on this side, on both sides really. Go for one more each side. And slowly lower down. Just shake out the hips as if you have a little tail like a dog, and just rock it out. Maybe even bend the knees up. Rotate them each side. Beautiful. Hands will come up. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed this. You should hopefully have felt your glutes, your hip flexors, your abdominals, and these are all going to support you in your walking. Don't take for granted what we do naturally. Always know that we can support our walking by really doing this core work with our body and making sure that our muscles are nice and strong so they can work to their best capability. Okay, thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.